thing to do would be, so if, most of the time when I talk to, so I'm a tooling guy, but when I talk to a lot of people working on CAN, and when I'm trying to show them this, the first thing that they ask me is, fine Malai, CAN send works, CAN dump works, how do I send a cyclic message? That's always the need of the hour, right? That's how the issue starts. We always send out a cyclic message. So with these commands, the cyclic message is not possible, but then with the Python code that we write, you could do all of that. So you would be able to actually send out messages cyclically also. So now the next step forward is to show you how to write Python code to achieve the same. I send and I receive. That's the simplest thing that I could do with Python, right? So if you have anything in between, just raise your hand and I will try to help you with that. Yeah, or you could always ping us separately and we'll help you out after the session if you have any particular use case that I've not dealt with. So right, I'm just reverting the code a little bit, sorry. Right, so that's like a simple send code. So I first get an object of the bus. I tell him I'm using socket can. My channel is vcan0 and the bitrate at which I'm sending. You could connect to vector also. You just have to replace it with bus type vector. We've got a separate example for vector, which we will share to you separately. Uh, and then once you have the bus, you need to create your message object that you're sending. So the message always has a frame ID and a 8-byte data that you're sending. And then are we talking about extended can? No, we're talking about normal can. So extended can flag is set to false. And then once you have the message created, you just need to send it over the bus. So it's pretty simple. It's just enabling the bus, creating a can message, and then sending the can message on the bus, exactly like how we did with the terminal. So now I've got my terminal on, can dump is running. It's over here. And I'm going to run my Python code. So I'm just going to, so I'm using Eclipse for this, but you could use any other ID. It works. And I sent the message on the canvas and you see that it's received here on can dump. So can dump 7EE. Okay, I am so sorry. My message, I was playing with some extended can messages to see how it works. So I will just replace that to 001 and I could just run that. And then now if I go back to the trace window, you see the messages here. So I've sent something on vcan0 with the message ID 001. It's an 8-byte data with this as the message. So that's a simple send. I've sent from Python, received on the terminal. Yeah. I could do the vice versa also. The next step forward would be I send from the terminal and receive in Python, right? So receiving code is even more simpler. You just need the bus and you're listening to the bus. Any message on the bus, you just accept it, right? So so that's the code for receive. So you create an instance of the bus, listening to the bus vcan0, and then in an endless loop here, we're receiving what's coming on the bus and we're printing it. So I could just run this code and it's on wait mode. You see here, it's waiting like the can dump. And I could just go to my terminal and use a can send command here. I'm so sorry, why is this coming? So you see that message is sent here. So it's 002, the DLC is 2, and it's 1, 2, and 3, 4. So it's 2 byte of information, right? So we're able to send from the terminal, we're able to receive in Python, we're able to send from Python, receive on the terminal, right? We're good till here. Now the next thing to do would be send and receive in Python, because typically a normal ECU would send out messages and then wait to receive messages and then respond when it has to respond based on the message that he's receiving, right? So basically we need one code which can do the receive and the send, right? So I'm just going to, so my receive code is still on. I'm going to send my raw message from Python. So I'm just going to right click on this and run this code now. You see that's also received here, and that would also be received on the CanDOM here. So I've sent out 001. So my Python code is sending and my Python code is receiving. So now the next thing that typically somebody would be interested is the periodic message. So I'm only able to send one now and receive it on the other end. Now I would want to send cyclic messages. So I could just use a method called as send periodic. And then I could actually tell him how many seconds. So it takes the attribute in terms of seconds. So if you want to send it in milliseconds, you need to use 0 point something something. So I'm sending every 1 second. I still got my receive code running. I'm just playing my send code, right? And I'm just changing my terminal to receive. 1 minute. I make a mistake. Yeah, 1 minute. Okay. So I'm just going to, like we discussed, so I'm just merging both the codes so that we see the send and the receive happening on one side. See, so that's every 1 second it is sending out the message and I'm receiving it, and you would see that on the CAN bus also over here. So I'm able to send, I'm able to receive, I'm able to send cyclic messages now on the bus. Right. So now the next thing that typically you would want to do when you're designing a simple ECU is receive the message and respond to that message. So we just check if the message ID is 1, then create another message and respond to that. So that's a simple code where I receive the message, check the ID, and then I respond back to the message, right? Because the typical behavior of, so we've seen the Python code to send and receive, right? And now we're seeing how to send, how to receive, and then respond back on the bus for it. So this is like an on message thing in Keppel. Right, so I'm just going to make this as I made a mistake in the ID. Sorry. Sorry, I made a mistake with the ID. Sorry. So just checks. You see that it is here. Okay, I'm sorry, I was seeing the wrong window actually. So I'm sending a we can with 1 as the message ID, and when I send 1 here, it receives 1 and responds back for 02. I'm not printing 02 here, so it's not printing. So I'm getting a response with 3141, which is what I'm. So I'm sending a message 01 and it is responding back with 02. So this is on message, and it's in endless loop. So I can actually keep sending. Every time I send this, it will actually. So it responds back. Right. Then so we've seen an example of sending, receiving, and then receiving and responding.